Hey everybody, it is Thursday night. That means it's time for Shop Talk from Haven Comics. I am Josh Olive with the aforementioned Haven Comics, your intrepid host. So if you are hanging out, man, hit the like button, all that jazz while we play this awesome intro video that Nick Ellis from Two Brothers Comics made for us. Hey, welcome back. Hopefully you stuck around because that wasn't very long. And if you left, we would be really hurt and sad. And you don't want to make us hurt or sad because that's not how we want to do things around here. But speaking of people that are sad, I'd like to introduce you to my co-host, Mr. Alan Breedlove. What's happening, Alan? Why are you sad?
I am the furthest thing from sad. Let me tell you what, I have had a good week at work. I've had a good week at home. I've read a lot of books. I've played around on the Haven YouTube channel a lot. Nick Ellis made us an amazing banner for YouTube, and I learned something new this week. And I love learning new things.
What'd you learn?
I finally learned the difference between Dubai and Abu Dhabi.
Oh boy.
In Dubai does not like the Flintstones, but Abu Dhabi do.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. That's atrocious.
That was bad, wasn't it?
It was. Speaking of atrocious, I heard a joke today that made me think of you. Why did the Scarecrow get an award?
Why?
Because he was outstanding in his field.
That's not atrocious. That's an amazing joke. I like that.
Well, when they asked him about the award, he just said, "Hey, it's in my genes." See, it's a two-parter, and it's terrible both times.
You're catching on. That's good stuff.
I heard it in a meeting today, man. I was like, "Oh my Lord, I know somebody who's going to appreciate that joke."
Speaking of appreciating jokes, there he is. Josh, Tots appreciates a good joke. He liked the Abu Dhabi joke. He just won't admit it.
Tots does appreciate a good joke. I'm aware. I know Tots and his appreciation for a good joke. But Tots also likes your jokes.
I know. That's because Tots is an amazing individual. He's an outstanding human being.
In his field?
In his field. What's up, Bill? Yo, Joe.
Indeed.
Hey, Bill, I'm going to let you in on a little something that I've learned recently. Stay away from the Hasbro Pulse website. It's very addictive.
Holy Lord, that Hasbro Pulse website is murder. And then they tell you things like, "Hey, we're about to ship you your Serpentor action figure with his little flying dealy bob there," and you're like, "Man, now I have to just wait for the mailman to show up with my action figure." Oh, Bill, too late. You got sucked in, huh?
I tried to save you, Bill. What I like is when you get those random emails in the middle of the day that say, "Hey, have you seen this?" And you're like, "No, I haven't, but I'm about to."
No, but I can't wait. Yeah, it's definitely like they're peddling crack cocaine.
Oh yeah,
to a bunch of addicts. It's like, holy Lord, yes. Oh wow, that sounds good, Nick. So you've already got a trailer shot for the expo this year. Awesome. I'm looking forward to it. You always do a great job with those things.
Oh, and Nick, if you have not seen Haven's new YouTube short, you need to go check it out. I have thoroughly represented the 9.2 crew where your brother no longer represents.
Wait a minute. What is? Does he not? Did he boot himself out of the 9.2 crew since he started cracking and pressing his own books?
You know, I think so. He's season 9.2 now, and he automatically thinks grade bump, and he's forgetting about the family. He no longer cares about our feelings.
He's just that's sad.
I mean, the 9.2 crew is an exclusive club.
It is. You know, I'm going to be seeing Dustin this weekend, and I'm going to be taking him a book to clean and press.
Nice.
See what he can do with it. I don't think it's in pretty rough shape. I don't think there's a lot he can do, but we'll see. It's got a pretty bad spine roll. It's filthy. It's got some bends and creases stuff, but this is one of those books that I have been looking for a long time. It's like anything, like Alan always says. I could buy this book on eBay right now, but that's not any fun, right? I wanted to find this book in the wild, and I finally did. So I got it in the kind of shape you might expect off a book you find in the wild, and there you go. Got my first appearance of the Legion of Monsters all together, and it is excellent, and it makes me happy. I'm gonna say I made the mistake of actually reading it.
That's never a mistake.
It's so bad, it's hysterical.
Those are the best ones.
You would love this because it's so awful. It's so funny. But yeah, I'm going to take that over and see what Dustin can do with it because honestly, anything he can do with it will be better than what I think just about anybody else could do because he's going to be focused. He's a good dude.
I've got there is a raw G.I. Joe #1 in my box at Haven.
Yes, there is.
And my plan is that whenever the proprietor of Haven finally decides to price it,
is that what it's waiting on?
That's what it. Well, that and me have the money, but unless he wants to take double the cover price, then I'll pick it up tomorrow. But my plan is that'll make my second one of G.I. Joe #1. I'm gonna send Dustin both of them, have him crack the slab on the other, and then send them, press them, clean them, send them both off to get graded, and we'll see what happens.
Nice.
So I do want to throw this out there right quick. Tots posted this. For those that are not following the YouTube channel, we have started posting shorts, and I have been having a blast doing these shorts. Figuring out the right song to go with the video has been actually just as fun, if not a little more fun, than filming the short itself. So y'all go check that out. If you're new and you're watching, please like and subscribe. I can guarantee you that Josh and I are going to talk a ton about comic books. I mean, we really and truly didn't get 5 minutes into it, and he was already showing off a book. So, and he actually said something when he was showing that book off that I'll be covering when I do my throwback pick of the week here in a few minutes. So please like, subscribe, hit the notification bell, all the good stuff. And thank you, Bots.
We have, speaking of comics and liking comics and all that jazz, we are going to have the next 2 weeks, we are going to have special guests on the show. And I'm excited about both of them. We're going to announce next week's guest at the end of this show. And I will give you a hint about the guest the week after that if you guys want a hint. Do you guys think they want a hint for something 2 weeks out? What do you think, Nick or Alan?
Well, we've got 4 people watching. If 4 people will tell us in the chat that they want a hint, I say give them a hint.
That sounds like you're blackmailing people.
Oh, I'm trying to.
Well, that's fair. A little bit of blackmail is good for the soul.
Oh, yeah.
That's what I've always heard anyway. So far, nobody seems to want a hint.
Well, I guess they're not getting a hint then.
It's like soup. No soup for you. We don't even have to. It's terrible.
What am I doing here?
I don't know. What are you doing?
I was looking for something. Is that what I'm looking for?
I don't know. You haven't told me.
I'm just over here playing around is what I'm doing.
All right. We have one call for a hint in Palpatine's voice. So if we get 3 more people asking for a hint about who our guest will be in 2 weeks, we will move forward on that. In the meantime, what do you say we talk about some comics?
Oh, I always talk about some comics.
Talk about some comics. Comic books. as he's opening his storefolio. Ooh, and he got his fancy closing mechanism for that.
Slide this one to right here because that is the throwback pick of the week.
Throwback pick of the week, yeah.
No particular order. We will literally just start at the top. So I've been saying for weeks that the best Star Wars title is Darth Vader. I still stand by what I've been saying. With that being said, though, Star Wars number 31. Y'all surprised me. You finally, after several months, put out a good book. This was very nice world building. We got some new characters. We kind of expanded on a cool little story. This was actually a very, very, very fun book to read. You know, a lot of times y'all hear me say that comic books are like kids. You got to scold them when they do bad, and you got to praise them when they did good. Well, Marvel, y'all did really good with Star Wars issue number 31. Like I said, pleasantly surprised. Next up on the list, Spider-Man number 4, The Lost Hunt. For everyone that's been screaming about they want just a Peter Parker, Mary Jane story.
Nick Ellis. Nick.
Here it is. This really, you've got two stories going on in this one book at the same time. We've got the backstory for a new character who is, I cannot say her name. She is actually the main antagonist's mother. And you're getting the backstory of her, which is a really cool backstory. I did not see the Wakanda connection coming. I thought that was a really nice touch.
Agreed.
And you've also got, it's really hard to explain for somebody who's not reading the book. Josh is going to understand exactly what I'm talking about. Peter Parker has lost it. He is not human anymore. He is a feral animal. And just by Mary Jane sitting in the floor and talking to him, she brings him back. And I mean,
yeah, it's amazing.
It was so beautifully written. If you want a Mary Jane Peter Parker story, this is it. This is not a Spider-Man story.
It's a Peter Parker story, right?
Yeah, it just says Spider-Man.
Look at the top name on the list there. Who wrote that?
That would be DeMatteis.
Yes, J.M. DeMatteis, who also wrote what? That's right, Spider-Man. He wrote The Last Hunt. He wrote Kraven's Last Hunt. This is not some joker that doesn't know Spider-Man. This is a dude who was writing Spider-Man at its pinnacle.
Mm-hmm. And Nick, you're right. It's not a cool Peter Parker story. It's an amazing Peter Parker story. You're in this particular story, you're getting a Peter Parker with PTSD. You're getting a Peter Parker who is just mentally done. I mean, he is, you just have to read it. A beautifully written story. Next up on the list, Wildcats number 4. You know, this right here was literally Grifter at his finest. He did not know where he was at. He did not know what was going on. What he did know was there was some people doing some bad things, and he was going to put a stop to it.
Yeah. He didn't know where he was, didn't know what was happening, but he didn't care.
Yeah, there was one particular scene in this book, a couple of panels actually, that might be just a little bit cringeworthy. I read them, and I had to do a double take. And then the simple fact when she said, "Don't worry, I'll just erase their memories. They won't remember it." At that point, I wanted to know more about what happened in the past with those two.
Yeah.
It was, what is going on here? But the ending of this book, DC, don't you do that to me again. You do something like that, you put out number 5 immediately afterwards. I mean, this was a cliffhanger ending. It was a great ending. But yeah, Wildcats has been fun. A book.
Yeah, the first issue was a little bit slow. It was fun, but it was a little slow. But it started moving along pretty quick, and I've enjoyed it. Matt Rosenberg's doing a really good job on that book.
You saw who was standing in the room with him at the end of it in the background,
hang on. We have a look at that.
What
HR is in the house. What's happening, Kaylisa? Have you been watching all of our YouTube shorts and such? Please say yes, because Alan has put a lot of work into those.
Alan is having a blast with those, and he's going to keep putting in a lot of work on them.
I will say we've had some ideas for some stuff that I don't know if you guys are going to think they're funny or not, but Alan and we about couldn't talk to each other laughing because we thought they were so funny. So we'll see how they go, but just talking about it made me and Alan laugh. So hopefully it will be fun when you guys watch it.
I knew that we had a winner of an idea when you and I couldn't even look at each other anymore, and my daughter got embarrassed.
Oh, yeah, that was great.
The second she got embarrassed and we couldn't look at each other anymore, I thought, oh, it's a hit. We've got to do this. Yeah, the one thing about Wildcats #4, if you have been waiting for Spartan to show up, or if you're wondering if he's going to show up, yeah, that kind of gets answered in here.
It does a little bit.
Yep. So a book that we've talked a lot about over the past couple of weeks, I did pick it up. I know a lot of people pick it up. I think, honestly, I think it sold out at the shop, and I was excited to see that it sold out because I actually really enjoyed this first issue, and that was issue #1 of The Last Barbarians by Image Comics.
Yep.
We had Mr. Haberlin on himself a few weeks ago. If you have not seen that episode, jump back, check it out. This was a really enjoyable read. Once again, I enjoyed the world building in it. There was enough of the story there to make me want to read more. I felt like it was a fresh story. We got new characters. It didn't feel like anything was rehashed. I really, really, really enjoyed this book. And like I said, there was definitely enough talked about and enough going on in this book to make me want to read more. And
yeah, there's a lot of like everything that the main character does is totally justified, right?
Yep.
The frustration, all of that, absolutely totally justified. And yet you see what happens as a result, and you're like, this is not fair. This is not cool. But you see how it's all shaping toward where it goes. And it's really interesting. And I'm curious to see, because that's a good kickoff. And if you ever play D&D, this is the kind of like, okay, we're putting the party together. And here's how this story is going to start heading. And now it's moving that direction. Tots, I think we put one in your box, brother.
Yeah, that was one thing about it, that when you're watching, when you're reading, I say watching, when you're reading everything that's going on in this character's life, it's things that actually happen in real life. I mean, to me, that's kind of what drew the story in, because it's what drew me into it. You know, not having a place to live, not even being able to afford to buy a drink, you know, constantly looking for a job. I mean, that really does happen in life.
And being a caretaker for somebody.
Yeah.
Because her brother essentially got kicked in the head by a horse, and now he's not right in the head.
Yep. So yeah,
simple.
Last of the Barbarians. I mean, great read. I mean, if you're not signed up for it and you like D&D style stuff, you want I got to say it like this. Somebody made a comment on Resort TV 1, the guy who runs that channel. His name is Josh. They do a lot
Must
of
be a good guy.
Do it?
Must be a good guy.
Oh, yeah, he's all right. He made a comment about how basically Disney is damned if they do, damned if they don't. If they put out new content, people want old content. But if they make sequels, people start screaming that they want new content. It's the same thing. If you want new content, you're looking for new, fresh stories, grab The Last Barbarians. It was a really good story, even if you're not into Dungeons and Dragons and stuff like that.
Now, one of my favorite bits in there is the scene between her and the giant.
Yeah, I actually thought that was funny. I like that.
It really was, because you're like, oh my God, how's she going to get out of this? Oh, wait, that's just hysterical. That was so funny.
Can you hear that?
Hear what? What should I be hearing?
Something be going on my speaker. I can barely hear anything.
Nope. We can't hear it on this end.
All right. It should cut out in a second. So next up on my list
But
is
there was a scene with a giant between the main
oh
character and a giant. Um, the whole book, right? I think that captures the spirit of that whole book right there in that one scene, and it was fantastic
oh yeah.
and hilarious.
So next up on my list, y'all know we have not shied away from it. We have told y'all how we, yeah, Kayleesa, I've noticed that. I don't know what's going on. It's like Josh is low and I'm getting some type of ringing noise.
Well, I can't hear it at all, but apparently other people can.
Yeah, I tell you what, I will talk amongst yourselves for just a second.
What are we talking about?
No.
What'd you do? Don't know what he did.
I'm working on something.
So while this is going on, whatever we're trying to resolve here, um, I have to say, if you have not seen Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania, I thoroughly enjoyed it. I had a really good time. Um, it had some throwbacks to previous Ant-Man movies. Uh, it felt in places, it felt like Star Wars. Uh, there's whole chunks of it that just felt like Star Wars. Uh, you've got this strange alien world full of whatever, all these different life forms and all this kind of stuff, and it's being ruled over by a Dark Lord who has faceless minions. So there's this huge section of Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania that just feels like Star Wars, and it's in the best possible way. Really, really enjoyed it. There was some. I've seen a lot of people complain that there was no character building in this movie, and I don't know what movie they watched because that was completely false. Um, was there a huge character movement for Ant-Man? No, but there was a lot of character building for his daughter. There was a lot of character building for Janet Van Dyne, the original Wasp. There was some early stuff that was good character building for Hope, the current Wasp, and I have to tell you, 1,000%, this movie is worth watching if for no other reason than Kang. Jonathan Majors is absolutely fan freaking tastic as Kang. Kang is awesome. He is so subtle with his acting and so many things that he does. Just the smallest gesture of a finger, uh, the drop of his voice. Uh, he is spectacular. Jonathan Majors is phenomenal as Kang, and I strongly recommend watching Ant-Man and the Wasp. All right, Alan, you try and come on because now they're saying I'm having trouble.
Yeah, I don't know what's going on. I actually tried plugging in some earbuds. Okay. Can anybody hear the squealing anymore? So so for everybody watching, how do I sound right now? Can y'all hear me just fine? So I'm getting, Bill is saying, okay, yeah, Bill can hear me just fine. And now, okay, Josh.
Any better? Worse?
Oh, much better. Whatever it is, it's gone on my end.
That was weird. Anyway, I said a lot of amazing things there that nobody could hear.
And I hope they're all were about me.
They were not. They were about Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania. Really fun movie.
All right, so now that we got that taken care of, which we will definitely get to Ant-Man and Wasp here in a few minutes. Next book up on the list, we have made no bones about it for the past several months, almost since we started doing the show. We really enjoy AWA comics. AWA has hit one home run after another, and it was never more evident than Trojan #2.
I haven't read Trojan #2 yet.
So literally the last 2 pages of this book completely and totally blew me away. I was not expecting that on any. Furthest thing from my mind happened in the last couple of pages in this book.
You be reading that tonight.
You get a lot more of the story. There is a lot more going on. The story is actually deeper than what issue #1 portrays it as. Once again, another fantastic read. I'm gonna do, guys. Y'all don't understand. I have contacted AWA. I want somebody on there from the show, on the show from there. I'm going to do everything I can to get in touch with the creative team on Trojan to see if we can get them to come on.
I'm trying to get Mike Deodato Jr. to come on.
No, that would be fun.
He's in Brazil, but I think it's doable.
Well, I mean, if we got to film at 2:00 in the morning, I don't mind.
No, timeline-wise, it wouldn't be the problem at all. I'm just afraid he'd come on and kick our butts. I mean, that dude is 60-something years old, and he's in better shape than he was when he was 20-something years old. And he is built, man. That dude will rip you up.
Oh yeah.
He's starting to get all swole like Nick Ellis.
Oh, easy now. Be careful. Hey, have you seen Dustin Ellis here lately?
Not lately, no.
Mm-hmm.
Really?
Yeah. Apparently, he's on some type of diet where all he does is drink water and eat peanut M&Ms. I don't know. I think I'm gonna have to try it.
That sounds like a pretty good diet. Now
it really does. But as far as, I mean, everybody knows. I mean, for those that have watched the show in the past, I loved Devil's Highway. Devil's Highway to me was one of the best books that's come out in years across any of the companies.
Yep.
It was extremely dark. It was extremely gritty. It would have made an amazing Netflix or AMC show. It would have made a great movie series. But Trojan, after 2 issues, Trojan is literally on the same level as Devil's Highway. I mean, it's beautifully written. I know a lot of people, and art does draw us into comics. That's what makes us want to pick a book up. I'm kind of a mindset of, if the art fits the story, I'm good with that. And the art fits this style story perfectly. What's up, Kyle?
Kyle!
I cannot say enough good things. And once again, this is one of those comic books. It's not for kids. I mean, this is not
very much not for kids.
Yeah, do not let a young, a kid read this book. My daughter's 12. I will not let her read this book. The boy is almost 17. I'd probably let him read the book if he wanted to, because we've sat there and watched horror movies that are far worse than this. But this is a very adult-driven story, but it's not like dirty adult. It's more grown-up, mature themes. It's not anything sexual or anything like that. It's a very adult story. It's actually kind of a sad story in the first issue, but when you get
awful, yeah.
Yeah, when you get to the second issue, you find out there is so much more going on, and you kind of get oh, really? Did not know that. Intriguing. Do tell more. Let's do this now. So yeah, cannot say enough good things about AWA, any of their titles. This one right here, cannot say enough good things about this book, period. Definitely a home run by them. My next book, I'm not going to say a whole lot on, because I'm pretty sure that Josh may have picked this book also. And I do want to talk about it a little bit later on. But Fantastic Four #4.
Heck yes.
The team is back together. You find out what happened. You find out what's going on, what drove them apart. They've actually been apart for, I think it was 6 months in here.
Yep.
We're getting a solid story I really enjoyed this because we're really and truly only getting one side of the story. We're getting one perspective, and you're seeing it played out in the panels from that one perspective. You'd never see the person's face that's being talked to in certain panels. And then all of a sudden it flips and you actually see that person's face. And when you realize what's going on and how bad off they actually are, it is a straight sucker punch.
Yeah.
I mean, but we'll talk more about that here in a few minutes because I did want to kind of talk about Fantastic Four. And
can I just say something about that book?
Let's do it.
The mustache has to go.
Yeah, the mustache needs to
is
go.
Awful.
And the fact that the only thing that Johnny Storm actually has right now that is flame proof is pretty much his underwear is hysterical to me.
Oh, yeah, that's fantastic. It's the only thing he's got that's still made out of unstable molecules.
Yep. We'll jump back to Fantastic Four here in just a minute. But for my throwback pick of the week,
I'm going
with this book for several reasons. But we are going with Justice League of America, number 21.
Nice.
So we've got the first appearance of Dr. Fate and Hourman in the Silver Age.
Yep.
We have the first meeting of Justice League of America and Justice Society of America. And we also have the first meeting of Green Arrow and Black Canary. And, those two kind of got a little thing going on. But those are the reasons why that's not the reasons why I picked this book. I actually picked this book because of something Nick Ellis said on a video that he just put out on Two Brothers website. Which the camera's really not going to pick it up. It's actually picking up better than I thought it would. You can see that this book is not in the greatest condition. Mm-hmm. This is definitely what we would call a reader copy of this book.
Mm-hmm.
But here's the thing about this book, and that's why I picked it this week. Don't collect grades. Collect the things that make you happy. Owning this book makes me extremely happy. I can't remember how much I paid for it. I don't even know what it's worth right now. I don't even care. There's no amount of cleaning and no amount of pressing that's going to get a grade bump on this. I don't even care if it ever gets graded. This book, just owning it, makes me happy. And it kind of goes back to what you said with the whole Legion of Monsters. Yep. It's a fun book to own. Could I have spent a nice chunk of change and got this book off of eBay, graded and a high grade and everything? Yeah, I probably could have, but what's the fun of that? This book just magically showed up in my box one day. And
yes, it did.
It was, and I'm going to be honest with y'all, the reason why this book just magically showed up in my box, right there.
Yep, that's correct.
But seeing the book, actually holding, what's literally at this point a piece of history. I mean, go collect what makes you, Two Brothers are always saying collect your way. I think ours should be collect what makes you happy. Because, I mean, that's literally what we do. Stop collecting grades. Beauty is in the eye of the beholder. If it's yours and it makes you happy, I mean, look at that. That right there is absolutely gorgeous. I'm telling y'all, 12-cent comics. I told Dustin Ellis in a text the other night because he bought a Batman 129 or Batman 192. It's the cover that's got the penguin that's actually sitting in the
upside down umbrella.
Yeah, and he's shooting down at him.
Yeah.
I can't remember what number it was.
It's 180 something, 190 something. Yeah, it's up there.
Yeah, it's in there somewhere.
We have that at the shop, and we might still have it at the shop.
Yeah, and I told him, I said, buying a Silver Age book is just a fun experience. Only collectors are really going to understand what I'm talking about when I say that buying Silver Age is fun. But at the end of the day, any Silver Age that you can add to your collection, no matter how atrocious or how great the condition is, I'm automatically going to tell you congratulations because I know how much I enjoy my Silver Age comics. So that is my throwback pick of the week. Justice League of America 21. Why? Because she's ratty, she's old, she's low grade, and I love her.
I like my comics just a little on the trashy side.
I think I might be clipping that out of this video and making that as a YouTube short.
Oh, great. Awesome.
He's got a pretty singing voice.
Things I didn't know I was going to have to watch out for. But yeah, no, that issue of Fantastic Four is excellent. It is really fun. Really, really enjoyed it. It was nice to see the story start to come together because we've had the stories focusing on each of them individually. And now we get the story with all four of them. And it's cool to see that. It's also like you can understand why they're upset. But yeah, it's pretty cool.
Yeah, I had read a I had read a little thing on because I'll check out League of Comic Geeks a lot to see what's coming out that week. I've got my pull list on there, so I have an idea of what I'm fixing to get into. If it's going to be a good week, a bad week, and when I say bad week, I mean to me a stack like this is a bad week. I want a stack like this. Josh wants me to have a stack like this every week.
I do. Yes.
But I also like seeing what's getting ready to come out. It's kind of a little bit easier to navigate than Previews World is. But I've been reading some of the reviews on Fantastic Four, and there's actually several people that do not like it. They don't like I think they're wanting the whole galactic doom, world ending, the universe is about to be destroyed each and every single week. And I get that. I understand that. Some people are like that, but I'm really enjoying Fantastic Four right now because it is back to being 80 to 85% character driven again.
Yes.
I mean, we are all up into the characters now. Josh just made the comment about the mustache has got to go. If you're reading the book, that comment was funny to you.
Yeah.
The mustache even gets brought up in this issue.
Yes.
I mean, it's funny to you, but and I don't want to ruin anything for anybody. They're only on issue 4. You've got time to pick up all 4 issues to get started in it.
Well, you kind of do. There's issue number 1 is sold out. Number 2 is sold out. The only copies I have left of number 1 at the shop are the blank covers. That's it.
Really?
The only copies of number 2 I have left, because they're literally the only ones that are still available from any of the distributors, is the very bizarre cat variant where it's the Fantastic Four all as cats. It's very strange, but it's literally the only copy of number 2 that I could get my hands on.
So sign K Lisa up for that one.
Oh yeah, no doubt.
But it's, if you want a character-driven book, if you want to get back into the stories where they just happen to be superheroes, they just happen to be powers, now is a great time to jump on Fantastic Four. Like I said, I don't want to spoil anything for anybody that might read it or might pick it up in the next couple of days. When literally the panel flips and you see the other side of the picture, it was heartbreaking. It really was. I mean, was it North is who writing this?
Yeah, Ryan North.
Oh my God, he's doing an amazing job. He has captured the essence of these characters. He really has. He's, for a lack of a better way to put it, he's made them human again.
Yeah.
And literally with this issue right here, you see the family get back together. You understand why they were torn apart, but you see them come back together again. And I thought this was just beautifully written. It really was. I'm not even that big of a Fantastic Four fan. I just picked it up because, hey, it's FF1. Let me pick it up. It'll give Josh and I something to talk about on the show one night. I picked it up and it was just like, oh my sweet baby Jesus, I love this book. You know, it went from wanting to be able to have a conversation on the show to I need the next issue and I need it now. Just that fast. And I mean, it's a great read. Marvel's doing it right with this one right here.
Marvel's doing it right with several books right now. They're just not any of the big flagship books that we're used to historically, right? Amazing Spider-Man right now, not good. X-Men, none of them for me are readable at the moment because it's just a big convoluted mess. But you take Fantastic Four is excellent. Scarlet Witch, excellent. Moon Knight, excellent. They've got, and those are just representative. They've got a lot of books right now that are fantastic. They're just not the marquee books that you typically associate with Marvel.
Daredevil, another one.
Daredevil, freaking excellent.
It for whatever reason, the second tier, what I would consider the second tier books for the company are the ones that are just absolutely killing it.
Yeah.
The top tier books, the ones that they're paying
to be killing it.
Yeah, they're killing them.
Yeah.
They really need to editorial needs to back off and just let some of these people take control. And if you notice, that's kind of happening in DC right now.
Yeah, DC's kind of making a turnaround.
I'm really looking forward to picking up that Superman #1. Everything that I've heard about it, everybody just loves it. So I want to know what's going on with it. A lot of people are saying that Superman is about to return to being the flagship character.
Good luck with that. Unseating Batman is going to be one.
It's going to be very hard, but from what everybody's saying, what Josh Williamson is doing with these characters, they're loving it. And apparently, Josh Williamson's gotten a lot more going on at DC than what I thought he did.
Well, yeah, they're calling him the architect of this dawn of DC, this new era of DC. They're saying he's the architect behind it. So I'm curious. Maybe we'll get him on the show. See if we can talk to him about it.
Well, we can try.
Wouldn't hurt to try.
I wouldn't mind getting him on the show to talk about this Night Terrors that's coming up, this mini-series event they're going to do, the summer event.
Yep.
I am looking forward to Night Terrors for one simple reason. So we're going to have basically Superman, Batman, and Wonder Woman back. The Trinity is back together. I don't know if they're going to a bizarre realm or whatever, or if they're going to get stuck in this nightmare and trying to figure out everything. I haven't dove that deep into it, but put yourself in Batman's shoes for a minute. You are literally flanked by what is the equivalent of two gods.
Yep.
What can a nightmare actually do to you at that point? And there's supposed to be a new character introduced, and they're saying it's a really good character, a really good new villain. So, and once again, Josh Williamson is helming that one up too. So I'm looking forward to it.
You want to know something I'm looking forward to? And I haven't looked forward to this in a long time. But the new Titans book. Tom Taylor is writing Titans, man.
Yes, sir.
That just means we get him writing Nightwing more? Okay. Where do I sign up?
And pretty much anything Tom Taylor touches is just about gold at this point.
Yes. Dude is awesome. Now, that said, I think we should dive into our topic for the week a little bit. Because what you just said, they're going to introduce a new villain. It's going to be super cool. And anything he touches is gold. Well, you have to wonder, when some of the characters that we see in comics today, when they were created, was it known that they were terrible and stupid? Or were they like, this is going to be awesome? This is going to be the next great villain.
I think I know what you're going with it. I think I know who you're fixing to say, and I don't know. I'm going to wait and let you say it, though.
I bet you don't know who I'm going to say, because I'm going to start a little bit out of left field. I'm going to start with Paste Pot Pete.
Well, you know, he's only like a half a rung below Impossible Man on that ladder.
That's true. But his name is Paste Pot Pete. Look at that outfit. Look, he carries a bucket and a gun, and he shoots glue at people. And he's wearing a beret, and he looks very angry. All right, so they figured out he was dumb, but they still liked the concept somehow. So years later, they changed him to Trapster. Same
At least
guy.
he looks cooler.
He looks a lot cooler, yeah, but it's the same dude doing the same thing. Paste Pot Pete, but now he shoots glue at you in a different way. He got an upgrade for his delivery mechanism. But yeah, when they created this guy, do you think that they were thinking, "Wow, that dude's awesome. He's going to be awesome. He's going to be on the same level as Green Goblin and Doc Ock."
Yeah. No. Nick, I got something coming for you here in just a second, Nick. It's coming. Start talking, Josh. I need to prepare this.
Well, all right, here's another one. You look at this and you go, "Why? Why did they make this guy? What were they thinking?" The Condiment King. This guy literally shoots ketchup, mayo, and mustard. He has a gun and he shoots condiments at you. Why would anybody dress up in spandex and go out and shoot condiments at people as part of a criminal enterprise? Where is the return on investment?
Oh, Lord. I just now saw what all you had loaded up in here. And there is one that I cannot wait until you click on him just so I can just shake my head.
Well, yeah, because I mean, you got to wonder, like, what are you thinking here, right?
Yeah.
Now, this one obviously is big on a lot of people's minds of currently because I love Jack Kirby and I think Jack Kirby's amazing, and I see a lot of people complaining that it's mild spoiler because they've released merchandise for this a long time ago. M.O.D.O.K is in Ant-Man. Is in the Ant-Man movie. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
M.O.D.O.K, they changed his character. They would have to because he's in the quantum realm. So it's not the same guy. He doesn't look exactly the same. He's got the primary characteristics. But yeah, and they're like, oh, they're changing all this stuff that Jack Kirby did. Not everything Jack Kirby did was spectacular. Okay, the man, if a top professional in baseball is batting 400 is amazing, right? That's an incredible average if you're batting 400.
Yep.
Let's say that Jack Kirby was better than that, and let's say he bats 600. Well, that means that 40% of the time, some of the stuff he came up with wasn't that great. And I gotta say, M.O.D.O.K is a bizarre character. It's a ginormous head with arms coming out the side and feet kind of sticking out the front. What does anybody feel strongly about M.O.D.O.K as like an amazing character, and they're upset that that they've changed his origin story for Ant-Man and the Wasp? Anybody upset by that?
So what did they make his origin story in Ant-Man and the Wasp?
I don't want to tell you because it's a lot of fun to find out.
Okay.
It's a lot of fun to find out, and when you see it, you'll know. I'm not bad mouthing the man. I think he's incredible. I'd love to meet him and shake his hand if he were still with us. I'm just saying that literally everything he made was not pure gold.
Yeah, but there's tons. I mean, there's even characters out there today that we could really and truly deal without. I mean, they're still coming out with characters. Characters are always going to be hit or miss. Not all characters will be as great as this one right here.
Stilt Man.
I mean, he's great. I mean, we can't say enough good things about Stilt Man.
I can hardly think of any. Here's another one, and this one, yeah, he's pretty awful. Well, they have to, man. They want them to take their masks off all the time because they want people to see those Hollywood faces that they're paying money to see Paul Rudd, not some mask. If they wanted to just cast a dude in a mask all the time, they could have saved a lot of money and cast somebody way cheaper.
Yep.
So I get why they do it. It's not my favorite, but that's why literally all of them have the ability to do this, and a mask goes flying off of the back of their head in a matter of seconds. They don't even have to take it off. They just tap their face, and the mask goes flying off.
Yep. Oh, Jay Stiltman was actually his first appearance was way back in the day in Daredevil #8 around 1964, maybe the beginning of 65, somewhere right around there. And Stiltman is so much better than Impossible Man, who made his debut in Fantastic 411. And that's really and truly geared at one particular person, even though I really do like Stiltman. And if you will check out the latest issue of Daredevil, the most recent run, Stiltman does make an appearance in it.
And plays a critical role.
He really does play a critical role. Impossible Man.
Nick, I would say, yeah, you're right. Mando, it works for Mando that he doesn't take his helmet off, and they have a great actor playing the role. But I think he's the exception that proves the rule, honestly.
It works for Mando because, and he is the exception to the rule because we know the backstory of why he does not take his helmet off.
Right.
You know, I mean, that's a very solid story. There's very solid reasoning behind that. And it's been there for years. Jay, please ignore Nick Ellis in the chat.
Yeah, that's good advice. Now, if you thought that M.O.D.O.K wasn't great, and M.O.D.O.K is fun, don't get me wrong, he's fun. He's a throwback to that Silver Age when you could just put goofy stuff on paper and it worked for whatever reason. This guy has some things in common with M.O.D.O.K, but is terrible. Egg Foo. That is correct. There's a villain called Egg Foo, and he's a giant egg.
What book was that out of?
For reference, guys, look at how small the dudes are on the little scaffolding over there to the bottom right. It's awful. Awful. This is one of the dumber creations to ever hit a comic book page. And the last one I want to show off here, I really probably shouldn't show it off. But this is one of those ones back in Doom Patrol when Grant Morrison was writing it. And Doom Patrol was weird for the sake of being weird. And then it was weird because it had a reputation to uphold for being weird. And so the weird just kept getting exponentially more and more out there. And this is a villain that showed up. And I remember I was working in the comic shop in Decatur when this book came out. And everybody just sat there stunned, like, what in the heck is this? Are they allowed to print this? This is wrong. This is a villain named Codpiece.
Also known as Gene Simmons from the band Kiss. Older people got that reference and they enjoyed it, by the way.
Yes.
Nick Ellis didn't.
This is a dude who that what you see is what you got. Right there. Why does that character exist? Why did they feel a need to make this? This is insane. But the 90s were a strange time.
Shut up, Nick.
Dang it, Nick.
It's so not after 8 o'clock yet.
So what are some comic book characters that you guys have read, you've seen in a comic, and you said, what in the heck? This is the dumbest thing in the world. Because this is just the ones that hit me off the top of my head. And I could think of dozens more. But what are some that you guys just find completely stupid? Like wondering why do they exist?
I never really and truly understood or got behind Sleepwalker from the 90s.
Oh, definitely not.
It was from, and what was another one? Quasar. Really?
Yeah, people who liked what was going on in Guardians of the Galaxy and all that cosmic stuff seem to like Quasar pretty well. And I will say this, James Gunn, for whatever else you think of the guy, he's able to take pretty terrible characters and do something with them. Polka Dot Man, Ratcatcher, those are pretty dumb characters, but he's able to show them in a way that makes them less dumb.
So this comment right here, I am going to mix up the timeline some because sometimes I might actually read too many comic books, or I may end up mixing up who actually wrote it. It might have been during Tom King's run on Batman, or was it Tom King or Tynan that wrote that story that involved Kite Man?
I think that was Tom King.
And Jay, I understand what you're saying with Kite Man. It's kind of a useless. He's not even a B villain. He would be more like a D or an E villain. But the way he was written and what was actually going on, he actually had a pretty good story there for a couple of issues.
Yeah, I would agree with that.
Now, I mean, but I'm also one of the people that I thoroughly enjoyed Tom King's run on Batman. I don't think there's anybody out there that writes the Bat and the Cat like he does. And I really, really, really love that miniseries that he did. Oh crap! What was the name of it? It just left me.
Batman and Catwoman.
It was a Batman miniseries. It was where Catwoman and the Riddler had basically stolen the Eye of God from Bruce Wayne, and it had something, and it was all Clock King at the end of it.
Yes.
Oh, what was the name of it?
Now I can't think what the name of it was either. Well, that's frustrating.
But it had something to do with time.
You're saying Black Bolt from the Inhumans? I got to tell you, if you haven't, Black Bolt has not been done any favors for a long time. But if you go back and you read World War Hulk, and you read the battle between Hulk and Black Bolt that takes place on the moon, oh man, that was incredible. That was incredible. Nick, are you asking for the band hammer?
Well, they're still at least 10 steps above on the ladder above Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. So, and Goku would not stand a chance against Snake Eyes. You just need to go on and recognize that. And the name of that series was Killing Time.
Killing Time. That's right. That's right.
And it was. I think that the fact that in the end, when he's sitting there with Clock King, I thought that was great. It was kind of like, okay, he had to be in this story. This had to be something going on with him. It's just brilliantly written. But once again, the relationship between Batman and Catwoman. And I'm still waiting on, I don't know, an appearance somewhere or something by The Help. That character was friggin' amazing. That's probably, to me, The Help is probably one of the best new characters that we've seen in DC in a very long time.
Yeah, I could go with that. Trying to think what all. Oh, here's one for you. I don't know if you remember, we had a graded copy of Batman 125 up on the wall at the store. Do you remember that?
I'm trying to think.
Well, if you go in tomorrow, you're not going to see it because we sold it today.
Batman 125. I'm drawing a blank.
That's the first Chip Zdarsky.
Oh! I was thinking like Silver Age. Yeah, I was thinking old school. I didn't know there was one on the wall.
Yeah, we had one on the wall. It is gone now.
Do you know who bought it?
I don't.
Oh, well, whoever bought it, good on you. That is a great book. That's where it all begins. All hail Chip Zdarsky on Batman.
Indeed. Congratulations. Are you congratulating us? Who are you congratulating?
I'll take congratulations, and I've really done nothing.
So I feel like did we do something? Did we just get a lot of views on some of our shorts that we've had posted? Anybody who has a better idea of how Facebook works, say Nick, for example, when we put these shorts together, Facebook chooses the thumbnail. Not Facebook, YouTube.
Yeah.
YouTube chooses the thumbnail. And so I don't know what makes it choose what it chooses, but he did a really cool little video of the Green Goblin statue we have where he's on his Goblin glider. And it focused because he walked around the whole thing, right? Well, it focused on, I don't know, Green Goblin's butt. So it's the thumbnail is just a picture of Green Goblin's butt. Why did it do that?
I bet the reason why so many people watched that short is because they thought Green Goblin was twerking.
It could have been. Could have been. I think that would make him crash that glider, though. I bet he would crash that glider if he tried that. But yeah, I don't. For anybody who was not on right away at the very beginning, I said we're going to announce who our guest is for next week at the end of the show. And if you guys want a clue as to who our guest is going to be in 2 weeks, we need 4 people to tell us they want a clue. We had 1, so we need 3 more people who want a clue for who our guest is going to be in 2 weeks. Nick, I think you might be interested in that person.
Who might be interested in it?
Nick. Although probably more like Dustin, but if y'all want to know, just 3 more people tell us you want a clue, and we will give you a clue. We'll give you a clue, a hint.
And to be honest with y'all, the only reason why we said 4 people was because at that time there was 4 people watching, and I wanted to see if we could make all 4 of them comment, and we didn't.
No, everybody was even a Blues Clue. It could be a Blues Clue. We can count Jay as having been person number 2 to ask for a clue. So 2 more folks. If you want a clue, you got to come through. You got to let us know. Let us know. So you said we were going to talk about Ant-Man. Have you seen Ant-Man yet?
I have not seen Ant-Man yet. I'm hoping to try to go this weekend. It seems like when I actually get time to go do something like that, I just want to sit down and do nothing for a few minutes. And
you could sit down in a movie theater and do nothing but enjoy that movie.
Well, the problem, I could have went Sunday, but I'm afraid that if I'd have gotten up out of the recliner Sunday, it would have ran off. And I successfully held that recliner down all day long Sunday, and it was glorious.
That does sound pretty good. But going to see the movie would have been worth your time.
So was there any hint on what's coming next? I mean, was there scenes? So
there's 2 after credit scenes, both of which are fantastic.
So are we excited for the future of the MCU?
Dude, I cannot even begin to tell you at how amazing and how calmly terrifying Kang is. Kang is scary. They very firmly established that Kang is every bit as much an existential threat to the entire world as Thanos ever was.
So they really did pull that off. I mean, you do believe he's the next big bad.
Oh, you have no choice.
Okay.
No, he's amazing. He's phenomenal. He's worth watching the whole movie if all you watch is scenes with him in it. He's so good. And a lot of people have complained that the movie doesn't have any character growth, and that's complete malarkey. Uh, it's just not with Scott Lang that you see it, because Scott's already pretty well established. The real growth that you see is in Cassie, his daughter, and you learn an awful lot about her, and you like her, and you want to see more of her. In a Young Avengers movie, maybe Young Avengers needs to happen. Um, you learn more about Janet Van Dyne, the original Wasp, and you get some backstory on her and what's going on. You get some character development from her, and it's really really good. You learn a little bit about what Hope, the current Wasp, is doing. There's a couple of in the opening segment they kind of zip through it pretty quick, but she's doing some awesome things with her superpowers and with her knowledge, and she's really helping the world, like applying her stuff to solving the food shortage issues and transportation problems, and just helping people around the planet live better lives daily. Um, it's really really cool. The movie is fun. It's so fun. And I will say, and Jay, back me up here if you agree, and if you don't agree, just zip it. Uh, there are huge sections of the movie where it feels like Star Wars.
Okay, you got to explain that one.
It looks like Star Wars and it feels like Star Wars. Okay, they're on this bizarre alien world, i.e., the quantum realm, where most people are alien in some way or another. Right? There's not a lot of humans running around. Um, they're spaceships. There's a terrible, evil Dark Lord villain who controls an army of faceless warriors, i.e., stormtroopers. There's this whole freedom fighters vibe that's going on here. Uh, AK Rebellion. There's a huge chunk of it that feels like Star Wars in a totally awesome way. There's a scene where they're flying in and you look down at this massive fortress and there's all these squadrons of stormtroopers just in their regiments, all in their rows and columns and everything. And if they were wearing white instead of the colors that they're wearing, you'd just say, okay, stormtroopers. Got it. And if that Kang weren't wearing his extremely comic book accurate costume, by the way, you'd look at that and go, oh, Darth Vader. It's fantastic. And he is so menacing. Jonathan Majors is such a phenomenal actor. He can do so much with the tiniest little flick of a finger. The way his voice will be talking and he'll just drop. He's like a world-class musician playing an instrument, and he knows exactly how to play that instrument. He is phenomenal. Holy Lord, but he's good. What you looking up? You look like you are like desperately trying to find something.
Well, you said something a second ago, and it just hit me. And then you said something else, and then it hit me again. And then I can't say anything because it would actually play into the hint that apparently nobody really and truly wants except for two people.
That is sad.
So I'm just going to kind of keep my mouth shut. I was trying to figure out why you said a certain person would be interested in our guest in 2 weeks. You said Dustin Ellis would be interested in it.
Yes, I did.
And I'm trying to figure out what it is he wrote that. Oh, well, wait a minute. There's a hint. My bad. Sorry, guys.
That was a little bit of a hint, wasn't it?
That was a little bit of a hint.
You sneaky rascal.
Oh, you sneaky out. Oh, what was he said in oh crap, what was that movie, the Adam Sandler movie? Where he ends up becoming the instant billionaire and the butler, like you don't mess with the sneaky.
I do not recall.
Yeah, I can't. Mr. Did, no, I can't remember it. But back to Ant-Man. So you're talking about the extremely comic accurate costume that they have Kang in, and I did like
Kang
the way
is
they did
so
the
great.
faceplate. That it makes more sense. The faceplate being purplish. I really enjoyed that. As far as the rest of the movie is concerned, how do we have a lot more comic accuracy than what they've been doing lately, or is it just kind of par for the MCU course now?
What do you mean by comic accurate? You mean plot wise,
Yeah, plot
character
wise.
wise?
Yeah, plot wise, characters, things like that.
Well, it's very clearly its own story.
Yeah.
So it follows its own plot and character. Like I said, M.O.D.O.K is in it, and again, that's no secret. M.O.D.O.K is featured in all the toy lines and all that stuff. And M.O.D.O.K by design by necessity, has a different origin story from what he did in the comics. He had to, because he's in the quantum realm. So it's just there is no aim to create M.O.D.O.K. So it had to be different. But that said, it's internally consistent within the world, within the MCU, and it's fun. There's definitely a couple of moments where it's like Chekhov's gun, right? There's a little bit of a thing that gets a mention early, and you don't think anything of it until later, and you're like, oh my God, there it is. Some fantastic stuff. It keeps its sense of humor because it's Ant-Man and it's a fun movie, but it also has some serious moments. And I thought the decision to introduce Kang in an Ant-Man movie was really interesting. Like, I would have never picked an Ant-Man movie as the place to really launch what is clearly an existential threat to the entire MCU. And I would not have picked an Ant-Man movie as the place to do that. But they did, and I thought it was highly successful. Kang is just freaking amazing.
Now, I know a lot of people, before the movie come out, were screaming that Scott Lang's going to die in it. So can you give us a little hint as to, does Mr. Lang survive, or are we done with him? Is Paul Rudd's time? Let's put it like this: is Paul Rudd's time in the MCU come to a close?
First of all, what up, Chris?
What
Second
up?
of all, do you remember Toy Story 3?
Mm-hmm.
It's a lot like Toy Story 3.
Okay. So, do we have any good cameos other than M.O.D.O.K?
If you read the Micronauts back in the day, they legally, contractually, they can't use any of those Micronauts characters. They can't use the name, or at least any of the primary Micronauts characters.
Mm-hmm.
But a lot of ancillary characters from Micronauts are shown, derivations of those characters.
So why can they not use the Micronauts name? I didn't know that.
If there's a creator-owned facet of Micronauts,
Mm-hmm.
and they don't have it. It's
wow.
just a contractual thing that was with Micronauts.
Something Disney does not own.
There's a few things, yeah.
Not much.
There's a few things.
Sony will fall soon.
We can only hope.
Well, let me tell you what, Iger's back in charge. It's only a matter of time before he makes a big purchase.
I have to say, one of the fun things, we're kind of taking a little tangent here, folks. I would apologize, except I love this stuff. I'm on several Disney forums and things like that, and people are posting pictures. A couple of weeks ago, they were just at Walt Disney World. They're in the Magic Kingdom. They're in Animal Kingdom, and they just saw Bob Iger in the crowd, like checking things out. And they walked up to him, and they're talking to Bob Iger, and he's just totally cool. He's walking around with them and talking to them, and then he's like, "Okay, I gotta go." But yeah, Bob Iger, the freaking CEO of Disney, is just there in the parks checking out how the operations working and all that stuff. Two things. One, what's happening? Legion of Comics, good to see you. Hope everything is well.
And congratulations to Legion of Comics for busting through the 2,000 subscriber mark.
Dude, rock on. I will say we have added 10% to our subscriber base in the past 2 weeks, which means we are now up to 220.
I think we might be at 221.
We were briefly, but then it dropped back down. Somebody dropped it. Next question. What's up with the Bill Murray role in the movie? All right. That is a good question because everybody knew that Bill Murray was in the movie, right? They didn't make any secret of that. He was in the trailers and such. I'm trying to think how to describe Bill Murray in this movie. As I said, this movie has a lot in common with Star Wars. And Bill Murray would be a less helpful Lando Calrissian from Empire Strikes Back.
I could see that. Is it okay? So is it your typical Bill Murray role though? And don't get me wrong. Before the hate starts and you start emailing Nick Ellis how bad I've messed this up and how bad you hate me, and that email should go to nick@twobrothers.com. I have nothing against Bill Murray roles. I love Bill Murray. I think he's hysterical. But is it your typical Bill Murray role?
It's a little bit more understated than a lot of his roles. But yeah, it's pretty typical. And I will say that how things go is really interesting. Yeah, y'all get over and check out Legion of Comics and get in on this giveaway, y'all. It's pretty awesome. Yeah, there's certainly some stuff. Agreed. I would say there's certainly some comparison to Tron Legacy as well. I can see that. I just, for me, being in that alien world where all of the people around everybody are aliens, all the different shaped heads and the wackadoo appearance of all the characters, and then they're going up against this powerful Dark Lord with all of his stormtroopers lined up in neat little rows in front of his palace. It very much had, and the freedom fighter aspect, it had that there for me. I will say there's one scene in particular that is very funny, very weird, that I think might have felt more like it was in the right movie in Guardians of the Galaxy, or maybe even in Doom Patrol. But yeah, drink the goo, drink the ooze, whatever it is they call it. You'll know it when you see it. It's funny. Yes, I have holes. Exactly. I have holes. Yeah, that was very funny. That was a good little bit of comic relief there.
I think I'll have to load the bug up and take her to see it this weekend.
You got to. It's really, really fun. And I think she'll enjoy it. I think she will like Cassie a lot.
Well, as far as she's concerned, if it doesn't have Wanda in it, she just doesn't care half the time.
Well, I can understand that, but the world is a lot bigger than Wanda Maximoff.
Well, do not tell her that. You might get beat up by a 12-year-old.
Not again.
I mean, yeah, really. Honestly, when Dark Ages come out, she read the first issue of Dark Ages. Wanda died, and she was done.
Yeah.
She's like, I don't know who Tom Taylor is, but he's dead to me also.
He killed she Wanda. Doesn't have to worry about it. Wanda Maximoff does not die in Ant-Man. Scarlet Witch does not die in Ant-Man. She's all good. She comes through it just fine. But no, it's a really fun movie. That's the thing. The people that are complaining about it, I don't understand their complaints. I really don't. What's your problem? What do you think this movie should have been?
But I did hear some people say that it just wasn't good. They hated it, blah, blah, blah. I never listen to people because some people just want to complain about stuff.
Yeah, Scarlet Witch survives. I do hesitate to say, but Dumbledore does not. Yeah. Dumbledore bites it. Sorry.
Yeah, and spoiler alert, Obi-Wan dies as well. Yeah.
Man. I
know. Sorry. I had to tell him. Don't get too attached to the character. He's going to die.
If Obi-Wan is dead, you show me the body.
He become one with the Force. There is no body.
A likely story.
Mm-hmm.
He just ran off with that girl from Dantooine, didn't he?
Yep. And you're right. I mean, some people, they're just going to get on there. They're going to get online and complain just to complain to complain. And then they'll turn around and complain that they don't have anything to complain about.
See, he gets it. Tots gets it. No body, no murder. What? Just seeing Tots' comment just reminded me. This weekend when you were up at the shop, didn't you say something about a Tots-like character? The other one, true Zachary?
No, that was. I remember somebody saying that, but I don't remember who said it though.
Because the acronym for that was hysterical.
What was the acronym for it?
Well, do it in your head.
I'm not that smart.
The other one, true Zachary. Instead of Tots, it's Toots.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I remember that now.
That was quite amusing, I have to say. That was some fun stuff.
We are going to jump on here and see if there's anything major going on next week.
Tots, you need to do a you need to do an SBIR or something for something and make that the acronym, make that the title for it. That's your homework. I'm sure you can find an open topic that you could do that for. Nick, have we offended you? Has Toots offended you? We're so sorry, Nick. We know it's not after 9 o'clock. We should watch our language. Oh Lord, that's not right. That is not right. So yeah, what are you? What's coming on that you're looking forward to, Alan?
Well, I was looking to see what's coming out next week. I don't even know what my pull. Let me look at my pull list before I start. Now, this week has Darkwing Duck landed for this week?
I believe it did. Yes.
Yeah. I want to see what villain they're going to pull out next on Darkwing Duck.
Darkwing Duck.
But let's see. Wow, I'm showing kind of a light week for next week. Let's see if there's something.
Oh well, I can tell you right now, you're going to be wrong. I'm just going to read you some of the number ones that are coming out next week. All right.
All right.
This is just the first issue of new series. There's one called All Night and Every Day. It's a one shot, and that looks like an interesting horror book. Cosmic Ghost Rider #1 new series is coming out. Darkwing Duck #1 facsimile edition of the book from the 90s is coming out. Hallows Eve, the new Spider-Man villain, she's got a limited series. #1 comes out next week.
Okay, so this Hallows Eve, I gave up on Spider-Man. I just couldn't take it anymore. Do we know anything about this character? I mean, is she going to be worth picking up and reading about, or is it just kind of they're just trying to sell books?
She is essentially the new Hobgoblin.
Okay.
How they get there, I'm interested to see. Hunt, Kill, Repeat comes out next week.
I definitely want that one by Mad Cave.
Yeah, that's a new #1. The new Iron Man series, I Am Iron Man #1 comes out next week. Get your AWA book out. Red Zone #1 comes out next week.
Maybe I'm going to have a better week than what I thought it was.
Here's a book that's perfect for you. Rock and Roll Hell #1 comes out next week.
That sounds interesting.
Yeah, I thought that sounded good for you. Rogue and Gambit #1 comes out next week. Skull and Bones, the new that new pirate book we looked at a few weeks ago in the previews, that's coming out next week.
I gotta ask, do we really need another Rogue and Gambit #1?
We talked about that when we looked at previews. I don't think we do, but apparently people still like to see it. Like I said, Skull and Bones, that new pirate book we looked at a few weeks ago. Spider-Gwen Shadow Clones #1 comes out next week. Spider-Man Unforgiven #1 comes out next week. It's a lot of new series launches next week.
Yeah, this there's another one, Phantom Road by Image Comics.
Yep.
That one looks like that might be interesting.
It does indeed. Yeah, there's a lot of interesting stuff coming out next week. So I think next week maybe is a week you pick up some stuff off the wall and say, well, that looks cool. That looks cool. There's a fair bit of new material hitting the shelves.
Well, yeah, I mean, I'm good about that.
Well, that's half the fun, right?
Oh, look, Breath of Shadows 2 should come out next week.
Yes, I was just reading off #1s that were coming out.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm interested in this Hunt, Kill, Repeat that's coming out. And then Mad Cave also has one. I'm not sure when it comes out.
The Last Templars?
Yeah, the last or Exorcist Never Die.
Yeah, that was it.
Yeah, and then I think you got a sneak peek of it in the back of Tales from Nottingham.
Yep.
And I did like the fact that when they kind of took off their overcoats and everything, they were Templars. So yeah, yep. I can't wait to check that one out.
That one looks like a lot of fun. It looks kind of like the idea of Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade, where there's just a handful of them that have survived from back in the day. It looks really, really cool. Yeah, we can take care of that, Bill. Red Zone looks awesome.
And that Hunt, Kill, Repeat is actually written by Mark London, who, Mark London, if you're watching, we would love to have you on the show to talk about it.
Yes, we would.
So, yeah, I definitely want to pick that one up next week.
They're still alive, Tots, so I'm going to guess that they did.
Every time I hit the dang back button, it takes me to this week's. I don't want this week's. I want next week's. I think
you sound like you're being very pushy.
I am. I'm at the point in my professional career where it bleeds over into my personal life, and I feel like computers should just automatically bow to my will, and I shouldn't even have to click on anything. It should just automatically give me what I want.
Well, if you ever get that worked out, then let us know. Yeah, Tots. Yep. A. B in the clear. Dominus, Phosphorus, Prospera, Biscuits, Postmortem, Ed, 2, Contempla, Willa, Corporundum. 2, it would be great to see you. We've been missing you, man. 3, if I see what I think I've been seeing lately, there's been some baking going on at your house, so feel free to bring cookies or brownies up to the shop on Saturday. I'm just saying, we would love that.
Tots, did that cough medicine that I sent your way help any? Just a simple yes or no.
Yeah, Nick, we might want to get your help with that because he ain't responding, bro.
So I went through their website channels and emailed them, and then I messaged him on Twitter. And this was just like day before yesterday, so it's not like we've been hung out to dry or anything. I mean, it's, he's a busy man. He's got a comic book company to run. I didn't want to like name drop and all that crap, but at the same time, I'll do what I got to do because I really want to talk to him about some of the stuff Mad Cave's got going on. I'm enjoying Mad Cave books.
This is true. I think I may have shared this story a while back, but I got to tell you, if it's been a minute, we had a guy come into the shop one day, and
oh, Josh, I'm sorry. Mark London will never be on our show.
Oh, I guess not. That's terrible. But we had a guy come into the shop one day. Didn't know the guy. Had never seen him before. And he asks if we can order this book we never heard of called Battle Cats. And I'm like, what? I'm sure we can. Let me look. Yeah, we can order it. He says, okay, here's what I want to do. I want to order 25 copies of that book. Okay. I want to keep 2 of them, and I want you to give the rest of them away. And I'm like, all right, this is interesting. And he said he met the Mad Cave Studios guys at a convention. He really liked them. He wants to support the company. And he figured one of the best ways he could do that was just buy a bunch of copies of the comic and make sure they got into people's hands. So that's what he did. He came to the shop and paid for 25 copies of Battle Cats #1, kept 2 of them, and we handed out the rest to people so they could try it.
I mean, that was nice of him.
That was very cool. That worked well for Mad Cave. It worked out well for them. It worked out pretty well for us too. And it worked out well for 23 people who got to try a book they would not have seen otherwise, potentially. So pretty awesome. All right. So I think we're at that stage of the show where we talk a little bit about our guest next week. What do you say? You think we should do that?
I think we should do it. I'm looking forward to our guest next week. Because there's particular questions that I want to ask this person, and they'll make a lot of sense next week. So you go ahead and tell them who we're gonna have.
Are you going to ask this person if Miss Piggy can be counted as a femme fatale?
Almost definitely. That's a standard question for every comic book person from here on out.
I think it's important.
Yeah, it's very important.
I agree. Anyway, next week we have a comic creator on. We have a comic artist named Mr. Kelly Yates. And if you're going, boy, that name sounds familiar. Where have I heard that name before? Kelly Yates was the artist on the Doctor Who comic book for a long time. He's very timey-wimey. And he also comes to the Concastaburus, or Concastaburus, as they say, convention here in town pretty regularly. He is a regular at that show. This year is the last year of Con K, and he will be coming back down in June for that last show. But we get to talk to him before that. He has a project going on currently on Kickstarter, and I believe it just got funded. So if you want to jump on there, there's still time, and you know it's going to be funded and it's going to get produced. It looks like an old 50s era sci-fi kind of a story, but with a modern visuals on it. And it's called Amber Atoms, ATOMS. And that's a current book that he's got going on Kickstarter right now. So we're going to talk to him about being a comic book creator, being an artist, working on Doctor Who, kickstarting his new project, all that stuff. That will be next Thursday night at 7 o'clock. So you're going to want to jump in and see what's happening there. Bring all your friends who like all that stuff. If you got Doctor Who fans, if you got people who like that kind of 50s sci-fi vibe in a comic book, he's going to be a great guy to have on. Plus, he's one heck of an artist. He's fantastic. So we're really excited about that. We need 2 more people to tell us that they want to see a hint about who our guest is going to be 2 weeks from today. So if you want to see who our guest is going to be 2 weeks from today, let us know. But it certainly isn't Mark London. That's the true story, Nick. Is that you asking for a hint? Do you want to know? I think your brother would be particularly interested in this person. You might be to some extent, but your brother definitely would be.
Nick, did you want to see that as a background for Josh and I now, or do you want me to do it as an overlay on the screen so you can see what it looks like? You know what? Let's do this. Let's just see what happens.
So just look at that. Look at how professional that looks, y'all.
Hey guys, look, I'll joke. I know we keep, hammering the YouTube channel and everything, but Nick Ellis has made us a YouTube banner, and the YouTube channel got a facelift about an hour and a half ago and looks friggin' awesome. Cannot thank Nick Ellis enough for making the banner for us. So if y'all haven't, go check out the banner.
He does a good job with this stuff. He's got a really good eye for it, and apparently the ability to do the editing and aspect ratios and all that other garbage that goes into this stuff. So really appreciate that. He's going to adjust the bottom right a bit. Okay, whatever you want, bro. We think it's pretty awesome. So thank you. That makes us look so professional. I didn't realize before how much we looked like yokels.
So, I need this on a t-shirt.
Yeah, pretty much.
And I do have to admit that the place that you used to have the last batch of Haven shirts made, was it
Yeah.
Green Pea Press?
Yeah, Green Pea Press. Yeah.
I flipping love that T-shirt. They are wherever they're getting their shirts from. Those things are extremely comfortable.
They are indeed. Chat. Pop in and let us know what you think about this background, and if you think it makes us look more professional. Nick is asking for feedback, so he went to all the trouble to make this for us. Let him know what y'all think. Be nice because we like it.
We would do it here toward the end of the stream when viewers start dipping off.
That was sneaky of us.
Yes, it was. Nick, as far as I'm concerned, dude, I love it. I think it looks great.
I like it too. Those colors pop.
He said that he hid Impossible Man on that one.
I think he did that just so that we would spend all the time in the world looking.
And I'm going to be honest with you, I have. I'm not going to lie to you about
it. Bill Fisher likes it.
It's kind of like in the movie Mallrats. I want to see the schooner.
Right. Man, I loved Mallrats. That was a fun movie.
It really was, but it's one of those movies where you don't watch it with kids even in the same county with you.
Oh no.
You send them out of state so you can watch it.
You certainly, if there are kids in the same county, you certainly never take a chocolate covered pretzel from them. Did you see that Jeremy Long met Michael Rooker at a convention someplace and got his picture taken with him, and he took a thing of chocolate covered pretzels?
No, I have not seen that.
Oh yeah, it was fantastic. So funny. It was so funny.
Actually, Nick, I think the logo in the middle looks fine. I mean, the pictures kind of cover it up, and then when we have a guest on, it'll kind of get danced around some. Or I say the pictures, our picture kind of covers it up. Our video feeds do. I love the way that it looks.
I dig it. I dig it too.
It's from the YouTube banner, and then all I did was just take the banner and use that as a picture and just kind of shrunk the thing some. Nick Hush, $15 in my hand, little man. Those movies are so bad. They really are. But no, dude, I'm loving the way that it's all turned out. I think it looks really, really, really good.
Well, before we wrap up, I guess I should let folks know I will be going to the Atlanta Comic-Con Sunday this week. I'm only able to get away for the one day, so I'm going to be leaving but early Sunday morning and heading to Atlanta for Atlanta Comic-Con, specifically because my niece desperately wants to meet the 4 hobbits from the Lord of the Rings movies. They're going to be there. The 3 main characters from Cobra Kai are going to be there. Jodie Benson, the voice of Ariel from The Little Mermaid, is going to be there. That's going to be cool. On the comic book side, they got a handful of comic book artists. I love that they call it a Comic-Con and they have like 6 comic book artists or comic book creators, and that's it. But James O'Barr is one of them. So creator of The Crow. That's awesome. But yeah, I will be going. So if there's anything that anybody particularly wants me to keep an eye out for topics to talk about next week, shoot me a message, let me know, and we'll see what we can do. What do you think, Alan?
I'm sitting here running down the guest list for Atlanta Comic-Con, and they're going to have some. I mean, if you do talk to the guys from Cobra Kai, and you talk to William Zabka, who played Johnny in
William Zabka, yeah.
Zabka. Ask him about when he played in The Equalizer.
Well, here's a question for you, Alan.
Mm-hmm.
You want to get up butt early and go?
So yeah, no. No. Christy Swanson's going to be there.
Did that change your mind?
No, it really didn't. I mean, if I wasn't married, I'd be all up in the car and on my way. Yeah, my days of doing turnaround trip like that are pretty much over with.
Oh, come on now. Come on now. Think of the shorts we could film on the way and once we got there.
No, I was ignoring you on purpose. Sorry. No, I'm definitely not doing that turnaround. If it was like, say, Nashville or something, that would be a little different. Nashville or Birmingham. But Atlanta, yeah, 3.5 hours, walk around all day, 3.5 hours, leave at the butt crack of dawn, get back home pretty much the butt crack of dawn Monday morning. I actually did that for.
We'll get back home at like 8 o'clock.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah, no.
You jerk.
Yeah. Now, I actually did that for the only time I've ever been to Dragon Con. I left the house at about 6 o'clock that morning, drove to Atlanta with some buddies, walked around Dragon Con all day long. We we left that evening and drove home. And I think the only reason why we actually made it all the way home was because we was so delirious we couldn't stop laughing. I mean,
that sounds about right.
Yeah, I'm not doing the Atlanta turnaround again. And me and a buddy of mine used to do it all the time, going to Braves games. But I'm older now, so yeah.
I'm also older, but here I am. I'm going.
Thanks for the invite. Oh, you know what? Oh, Nick Ellis is already going to Atlanta this weekend, isn't he? I was going to say that Nick could go with you in my place Sunday, and there could be a two brothers shop talk mashup of shorts on the way there and on the way back.
That does sound fun.
Yep.
That does sound fun. You want to go, Nick? You already going to be there?
When we were up at the shop Saturday, he asked about something and about doing something at the shop. And I said, oh, yeah, we'll do it just as quick as we do that 24 hours at the comic book store that somebody was talking about that one time that never happened.
Still has not happened. That has got to happen because that would be hysterical. And from what I understand, there will be some amazing food at that event.
Yeah, there would definitely be some pulled pork and some Kaneka sausage at that event.
I'm hungry just thinking about it.
Mm-hmm. Now,
Justin's going to be in both places at the same time on Sunday? That's incredible. How's he going to do that?
I'm telling you, it's that weight that he's lost. He's going to be zipping all around Atlanta.
I guess. But swinging like Spider-Man.
What comic creators are they going to have?
There's a little page for it. There's not very many. Like I said, I think there's 6.
Yeah, I'm seeing mostly. Do you pronounce his name Sudam or Soydam?
Sudam, as far as I know, yeah. And he's been to Huntsville twice. Georges Gentil, however he says his name. He's a local Atlanta guy. He's there. James O'Barr, creator of The Crow, is there. And I forget, there's like 2 or 3 others. There aren't very many comic book guys.
Yeah, I saw that for James O'Barr, and I also saw Bob Camp.
Yeah.
He worked on Moon Knight.
Yeah.
And Jeremy Clark.
That's it. That's the other one.
Yeah. And then there's several artists that are going to be there.
But yeah, Jody Benson's going to be there, man. I might see if I can just get her to do a little voice work for the channel and just go,
Manu Bennett's going to be there. And Manu Bennett, however you say his name.
Yep. That's right.
Honestly, Man, if they're going to bring Deathstroke into the DCU once James Gunn really gets started up, they really need to consider bringing his Deathstroke over.
I would agree with that. He was good.
Yeah, I thought he was a really, really, really good Deathstroke.
Agreed. Well, man, I think it's about time to wrap up for tonight. What do you say?
Let's do it.
All right, guys. We appreciate you. Come back next week. Catch Kelly Yates. Learn a little bit about the comics that he's worked on and what all he's got going on, because that's going to be a fun time. And then we have a surprise, still a surprise, creator coming on 2 weeks from today, who is going to be pretty darn awesome. So, looking forward to catching you guys next week. Y'all have a great night. Adios.